Hey, I want to talk to you a little bit about breaking barriers and lids that exist within the church world. I love stories where people go beyond what's expected and do what is seemingly impossible, especially those stories where courage is required. I mean, can you imagine what it was like to even try to break the sound barrier? Even the experts of the time didn't know exactly what would happen or even if it could be done, but it was. And look today where air travel has gone. Truth be told, barriers are just a part of life. Some barriers are overcome naturally with really little or any effort, while other barriers take everything to overcome them, including time, people, and even resources. Churches face barriers too. One of the most recognizable barriers in church ministry is the attendance barrier. Now, churches can get stuck for a number of reasons. I want to take a moment and explain kind of 8 lids that keep churches and even other organizations from moving forward. Lid number 1 is desire. This really is the primary barrier to church growth. Some churches and organizations never grow simply because there's no desire to grow. Growth requires things to change. If the desire is there, then commit to the goal. Be willing to accept the necessary changes. Lid number 2, systems. Systems have to keep changing and morphing to kind of keep up with attendance trends and even cultural trends of the time. There are kind of 6 systems that church plants and even existing churches really need to pay attention to in order to move forward and progress. If not, these become places in which you stop. Now, those 6 areas are things like leadership development, children's ministry, the guest experience and follow-up process, parking, the facility, and even group life. If any of these systems are broken or getting outdated, they'll become a barrier and hinder forward progress. The third lid is the lid of cultural trends. Now, this can be an area that you can't do anything about. Take, for instance, area where demographics are changing, and as a result, the area is shrinking in population. Sometimes there are trends that are just simply out of your control, and as a result, they impede growth. Lid number 4 is the culture of the corporation. Culture is really always the most important thing of any organization. Now, this is true for a church too. What's your culture? What do you want it to be? It can become a problem when new people to your church feel the culture is different than it does for those that are on the inside. The 5th lid is the lid of competency. Think of competency in terms of capacity. There's a different set of skills needed to lead a small group than there is to lead a group of 100 people. Even more than that, there's another set of skills needed to lead a group of 1,000 people or greater. The dynamics of leading people and teams changes as things get better. This can be a hard transition to master. It takes time to develop the necessary skills to lead a larger corporation or a larger church. And let's be honest, sometimes there's no desire to go there because we have to become comfortable with where we are. The 6th lid that keeps a lot of churches stuck is the lid of courage. Many times we know what needs to happen or where we need to go. The only thing that's actually lacking is the courage to make it happen. Now, when fear becomes a greater motivator than courage, churches get stuck. The 7th lid to growth and breaking through barriers is the lid of communication. People want to know where they're going. If people feel uncertain as to what or where and even why, they're going to leave. Here are a couple things to think about when it comes to communication. First of all, clear is always better than clever. Take the time to define systems of communication. Make sure to have a process as to the timing and tone of communicating big changes when they do come about. The 8th and final lid when it comes to growth barriers is the lid of character. People want to get behind people that they can follow and people in which they know they can trust. When church leadership is lacking, integrity, the church always gets stuck.